I don't know what's going on with my camera. I don't know if this is just a smudge or what, but I look real ethereal. So I'm gonna just leave it. um, Saturn and Neptune have officially conjoined in Aries. I watched my dinner with Andre as they were conjoined, and also watched my childhood neighbor's dogs while she went house shopping. It was a neat day. Um, and I really don't have a lot to say here because I want to emphasize the fact that what's changing is that we're just learning to become real. Saturn is reality, and Neptune is also reality. Saturn would be the phone, the hardware. Neptune would be this ethereal filter, which is just a smudge and probably just another Saturn thing, but I like it. Come to think of it, I wonder if it's just on my end. Like, no, the camera's actually like, I don't know. I wanted to reflect a little bit on the new moon. This is a card that I pulled, and it does not seem like you would associate it with Aquarius, this fortress. This is very Saturn, in Aries at that. And I know Saturn's not comfortable in Aries because it is exalted in Libra, and Libra is Aries opposite. But this feels, well, I don't know. I am in a 110% intuitive state. I'm not allowed to use my intellect anymore. And I'm not going to try. That's what I was beginning this video trying to explain. This is all about coming back to our authenticity, our actual power. I saw the word backbone. Okay. You could see the emblem for Aquarius as electricity, as current. It's often confused with a water sign because it is the water bearer. Okay. But it's really, you could think of it as just carrying current, not necessarily water, could be electric current. And that's exactly how I've been thinking of it lately, especially with Uranus going direct. I have been literally feeling electrocuted. And that's a word I use a lot when I'm in altered states, like when I have real problems grounding myself. It's that I feel like I am receiving electricity from somewhere, and I don't have, well, I wish I knew how electricity worked. I don't have whatever I need to ground it, you know? And when it comes to spiritual process, people think they need to do way too much. What you need to do is learn to not do anything. That is the grounding process, is actually allowing the electricity to ground through you. So do nothing, do less, do as little as possible, because do you know what our action in the world really does? More harm than good. And that's why we don't like what it looks like out there. So do only what is necessary for the next 3 to 14 years, because that's how long Saturn and Neptune will be in Aries, respectively. And I wanted to talk about the backbone because this electric current flows through your spine. And not only are we working with the spine when it comes to spirituality, but we are literally working with having a backbone, having your own personal will, which is Aries. 3 to 14 years, you're working with your own will, your own power, grounding the electricity that comes from God knows where, that we are grounding. I mean, learning how the symbolic gives rise to the literal, how Neptune gives rise to Saturn, and then Saturn crystallizes into our experience. Whatever. It's all very whatever right now, and I like it. I love it. Nothing needs to be worried about. Things can only start to get better. Whatever looks bad to you, it can only begin to get better when you find your peace with what is first. We can start here, with the new moon. This is traditionally where moon cycles begin. Just begin with peace with what is. You can work your way up to seeing all things as perfect in all of their imperfection. But you have to start with acceptance of what is before we can make any improvement. Because any improvement from a place of criticism, I don't always have this feeling, but when I do, it is so strong, and I'm certainly not going to try to override it. I can't imagine what criticism is in this state, in this pieced out state. And even, I remember being in this state as a kid and getting bullied, but I didn't know it at the time. I knew other kids were saying things to me that I did not understand and that weren't nice, but I did not understand that they were picking on me. And it was usually, going back to my last video, it was usually sexual in nature. And I was just like, what are these people? What? That's the state of mind. Your mind actually renews. You have to believe that whatever has happened to you, whatever you have known life to be that is not good, not pleasant, not loving, not peaceful, you have to know that there will come a time that you will literally be washed of not only your sins, but others, and your experience of what missing the mark from, missing divinity. And there isn't any concept, real concept of shame in sin, which is missing the mark. It's just torture that doesn't have to be gone through, because you have the power within you to renew your own mind and not experience that ever again, even when it's literally happening in front of you. The power of the soul made flesh is what we are to discover. And the reason that has to come through this super humble material is that power is power, and it corrupts. I think we know all about that. I actually wanted to mention, going back to my last video, I just wanted to clarify something real quick. I was talking about the 5th house, And I talked about how the fifth house was the house of romance, playfulness, and creativity. And then I described it in the negative, like how it comes through in our world. And the only word that really is the fifth house in what I described was celebrity. I also described power, which is more eighth house, and gurus, which is more ninth house, and politicians, which is more 10th house. And I don't need to go into what those mean. I just wanted to clarify that. And I also wanted to say that the missing houses in all of those are the 6, 7. And I've had a lot of recent synchronicities with the 6, 7 thing, which I know was a TikTok phenomenon briefly. But these two houses are the houses of service to others. And that's what we are missing, even in our romance and playfulness and creativity. That's supposed to serve others. And then it also serves ourselves if it is serving the other. But if it's not, then where is the pleasure? Anyway, the 6th house is Virgo's house. It's salt of the earth, humble service, maintenance. And I have always been a person that loves maintenance. Okay, but my son is in the 6th house. There's birth, there's death, and in between there's maintenance. And that was written, I think, with more of a critical eye. But from my perspective, I'm like, yeah, that's heaven. That's great. Just keeping things up in my home is, and in my life, is really nice to me. And then the 7th house, of course, is the other. That's Libra, the opposite of Aries. Aries is what we're dealing with Saturn and Neptune. The individual, the warrior, and then the other and the lover over here in Libra. How do we use our personal will to serve the other? And remain in our own power. Not give too much of ourselves away to the other. How do we actually achieve balance? And that's why the problem of evil and like good versus bad is so complicated with human beings, because when you give too much to the other, when you upset that balance, you almost force the energy of the other to be more withheld. We have to understand things in terms of energy. So the empath and the narcissist, the empath has to draw back, the narcissist has to learn to come forward, and vice versa. There's no good or bad actor here. It's an energetic imbalance. And then, like, there are millions of those in the world, obviously, but talking relationships, that seems to be the big thing. And it's the big conversation in twin flame circles also. There's always the runner and the chaser, which is the same thing as saying, like, the oh my god, I'm not going to be able to come up with psychological terms right now. Oh, avoidant. The anxious is the runner or the chaser. The avoidant is, oh my god, the avoidant is running from the anxious, which is the chaser. And the world is backwards. it might come right down to this, actually. This actually might be the biggest thing right down here. Our sexual role reversal here. The feminine is supposed to attract. The feminine is supposed to be whole unto itself, and that attracts the masculine. The feminine is never supposed to chase the masculine partner. It's just not how it goes. And I think what's been happening is that everyone has been developing masculine traits. And it's not that any like perversion has occurred or distortion. It was just a time of developing the masculine. And as Jesus said, the man must become the woman. When the two become one, whatever that Gnostic gospel is, the man has to become the woman, and the woman becomes the man, and then you will know the kingdom of heaven. So we're all becoming men, okay? And then we're all going to become women. That's what I mean by be a woman. Be a woman. I'm talking to everybody. Develop your feminine traits, whichever ones feel most natural to you. But above all, empathy. Be that chaser. Be that anxious one that is like, oh my God, am I giving enough love? Am I giving enough? That chronic feminine crisis of our modern age, like, what more can I do? How much more can I give? The super mom. It's taken me. I'm still falling into that trap of like feeling guilty just for not giving myself away all the time. It's very deep in the wounded feminine psyche right now. It's hard to withhold your energy, especially when so many people need feminine energy right now. But we have to do it, and we have to let people fall if they need to fall. Out of trust. It's a trust fall for all of us. Anyway, this has been a very peaceful solar eclipse new moon cycle. So I'm just going to go continue to be at peace and let chips fall where they may.